Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to another week of Theorycraft Thursday, your favorite show of the week, as we always say, and hopefully it's true. Of course, I'm sitting here with Proud.
Hi.
Perfect, as boisterous as always. Yeah, we're going to talk about Dota today, probably. I mean, Theorycrafting Thursday.
You never know.
This is, it is what it is.
It's a Dota day this time?
It is a Dota day. It's not a Mafia day or some other tangential weird day. So on that note...
Let me install Dota real quick then.
Yeah, we'll have to uninstall League. We'll get out of our game.
Okay.
It's funny because you're actually just talking about League, which I know that's like base hedonism and whatnot.
That's just a Dota podcast.
Well, I lied. We say it's a Dota podcast. We can rope people in, and we get all the Han people and that in, and then we surprise them with the Tuesday show and the Monday show and the Wednesday show.
Okay, that's fair.
Perfect. All right. We're Trojan horse-esque. Anyway, let's talk about Dota. How's your week in Dota been?
It's been all right. My solo games have been okay. Not that I've played much of them, and then everything else I'm looking at friends this week. Win rate on Dota buff, and not a lot above 50. Yeah, I'll say.
I'm in a similar boat, mostly because we play together, mostly.
Right.
So.
Well, I only have 4 games with you. My games with Skrunk are not optimal. Not optimal this week. It's 14 games at a 35 win rate. Not the best. Not the best I've ever done in my life. So a lot of losses, but I did win a PA game.
That's miraculous.
Right? I was like, Skrunk, I'm going to click PA this game. Is that okay with you? And he was like, you know what? It's not, but I don't control you. And I was like, I don't know. It's a good PA game. And then I tried that at Battle Fury Deso shit that Slashers hype on. And holy shit, that does damage. Oh my god. I was killing men with every button I pressed. It was beautiful. It was like a fucking Enchantress, and then there wasn't. It was that was the 2-step process. It was 1, be Enchantress, 2, don't be alive. It was great.
Yeah, I like PA, not quite as much as you like PA, but I'm a fan. But I do think she's pretty I struggle to pick her in the current meta and how she is. So I'm glad that build has worked out for you.
I have my thing with PA is I found most successful with her when Storm was popular because she is the most mobile carry, without a doubt. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 exceptions that are different mobile in different contexts, but if you're against someone who doesn't go BKB or you just need to be mobile, PA is good and she's a BKB carrier, so she's the most mobile that goes BKB. So she's really good against Storm because Storm can't do shit to her because she dodges and Storm has a lot of right click from his overcharge and shit. So she's really good against that, and then she can blink strike every time he does a ball lightning away to try to kite, which is cool. So she was good against that, and then we were against Enchantress, and she has built-in crazy attack speed. So you can actually kill Enchantress with your burst of your W because Enchantress just isn't based around someone ignoring untouchable, and then she also goes BKB to ignore that completely as well. So I pick her against Enchantress and against OD because you need a BKB against OD. So if you're against Enchantress OD, I feel Spectre's pretty good. Or not Spectre, PA. PA is pretty good. Anyone who doesn't want to build an MKB and doesn't like BKB and doesn't like if you're mobile, which is about 3 heroes total. But when 2 of them are in your game, PA is not a bad pick.
Yeah, I mean, I like the days of PA mid too. Right. Those are kind of long gone.
Long since passed.
I feel like there are a lot of mids that are long gone, as I've been feeling, because I like a lot of unorthodox mids or tier 2 mids, I guess, Tinker. I love Tinker, but he just does not compare in mid matchups right now and a lot of times. But yeah, I think really what you got to talking about is a really important point we should talk about in general, is just situational awareness of builds, right? So you were talking about doing a Battle Fury Deso build and going obviously BKB. BKB is not really situational, but heroes, you really got to vary your builds. And I know you have some opinions on this topic.
Right.
Okay, good, perfect. Continue. State opinions, please.
Oh, about PA?
No, about situations and being situational.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. Well, this is a whole conversation though. All right. So you talk about your week in Dota first because that's its own business.
I was so proud of that segue, and you just
fuck that. No. Well, that's a You know
Okay.
what? I asked you to help me out, and that was wrong because you're just not capable. All
All right.
right.
We'll put that conversation on the shelf. And
Okay.
again, like we've been playing together, so my week in Dota has been a lot of like party losses, solo wins. I did a stream over the weekend, and we won a bunch of solo MMR, and that was fun. And I have been winning most of my solo games, and then I've been playing a lot of party games and losing, unranked and ranked. But now, like, I feel like I've hit a point where like I'm a very ladder anxiety prone person,
Yeah.
but playing so often party ranked, I've learned to just not care about my party MMR at all.
Yep. It's good.
Like it's not fun to lose it, but at the same time, like I like having something on the line,
Yeah.
and
I'll
and I don't
say
know, I'm fine with
my
it.
my least favorite thing after a party loss that was depressing is for someone to chime in. Oh, look at all these points we just lost. Like I know. Stop.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
let it.
prone to that. It's
Let's
just
all
painful.
just
The,
not go on.
the Oh my god, is this gonna happen? All right, the the big thing for us party, because obviously like we've talked about it for a few weeks now. We play all these party games with our team, and the issue is like we are like I think we always average in like mid 4K party, like upper to mid 4K party, and the issue with this range it feels like is every game. Also, we're playing captain's mode, so that like further thins the pool. But every game I feel like is either like plus or minus 15 or like plus or minus like 35.
Right.
So you get those like excruciating losses where like even if you don't care about your party MMR, it still hurts. Like I'm looking at my match history right now. We won a game together and it was a plus 21. Then we lost a game and it was a minus 32. And it's like, even if you go 1-1, like you're not gonna
Yeah, you
like
can still end up like half a game down. Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough
And,
life.
and of course, like that's a self-defeating argument because like the exact opposite could happen. Like,
Yeah.
I see a minus 13 on here. It's like, oh, well, you lose a minus 13, who cares? But that is something I've been noticing, and that always grates on me. Like, when you have those games, also, party MMR is such a mess because people don't take it seriously. And, like,
Yeah, it's not
we go
really
against people that, like, in our game the other day, maybe it was in like a two stack with somebody else, but there's a guy who's like 6,400 with like 5K party. And it was just like, well, he just rolled us. Or actually, I think we won that game. Actually, that was the 5 stack. I'm pretty sure he played
yeah.
Zeus. Yes, he played Zeus. I have the game up. I played AA. Yeah, you played Jug. Um, no, that was never mind. That's a different game. You weren't in that one. It was me, Vafa, and Skrunk. But anyway, this guy he's like 64, 6,500 part a solo, and his party just sucks because he never plays it. But like
Yeah, party MMR is bullshit.
he was crazy good. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But I've been having fun, even though we've been losing a lot. Honestly, I don't think I've been playing my best the last few days. So that's been a little frustrating. But I've had some good games, had some bad games. I had a 95-minute game that I lost, but that was an
When you picked
experience.
Ember Spirit, I feel like you sign up for like if the game goes late, you're like, all right, it's like
Yeah,
either this is a win or it's a really slow loss.
it
That's what I feel
was.
like. That's why I don't pick Medusa anymore.
Uh, yeah, I mean,
This is good. You're gonna win. It's just not gonna be a good time.
yeah. This game we were talking about, it was 95 minutes, and I'm conflicted because obviously like Roland and everybody else we always talk about the Dotp community and how fun it is, and I love playing with various parties and anybody in houses in unranked whatever, but the issue you get with a lot of these parties is like people get pulled up like a full bracket of unranked, like from normal to high or high to very high, because like I'm above, and I'm sure you get this too when you play with other people that are lower, and like it people have to like change their play style, and like sometimes people get left behind,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
have
just
somebody who's
like
like a core player and they play with you, and you're like, all right, if I don't mid, this game's fucked. And they're like, well, I don't play support. Well,
yeah,
guess no one has fun this game then.
yeah, or
It's very
like
sad.
yeah, and or like it's just a thing that happens. It's nobody's fault, right? It's just like an unfortunate reality of like if you play in a
Yeah,
5 stack of unranked, like if somebody is notably higher or notably lower, it can really mess things up. And again, it's
yeah.
nobody's fault, and it's not like I'm not going to play with these parties because of that. But it is like I've
I
had
was
a
fun
lot of
to
those
play.
games.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's Dota.
yeah, that's Dota. So let's talk about
Let's
situations that
yeah,
Wait,
So
we should cut the episode so that you see my beautiful segue, and then it comes into this. We're not going to do
yeah,
that, of course, but
we're not actually going to do that ever.
I'm so
Yeah, so I was talking to this guy, Ursinity, as he's known. I was talking about in Dota, everyone has like this impulse to say everything is situational, and I feel like that really stifles any meaningful conversation about anyone actually like getting solid advice. Like you're not really allowed to say anything is bad because like it is true that there does exist some situation in which like A is not fucking terrible and the worst goddamn thing anyone's ever done in their fucking life.
yeah.
But it's still like overall, you like it's bad. Like just because something is good in like 1% of situations doesn't mean you're like wrong to say it's like overall bad. Like Orchid Clinks is fucking bad. Like that's a bad build now. But like yeah, okay, maybe there's a game where you're 5 cores and Clinks is your support and you're against Ember Spirit, Storm Spirit, and like fucking Earth Spirit and every spirited motherfucker in the game. Like, yeah, okay, Orchid's good then, but like also shut the fuck up. Like that's not important. This person's asking for a Clinks build, not what to go when there's 7 spirits on the opposite team that all need to be silenced. Like, shut up. That's not important. So that's why I'm an asshole. Whenever I talk about things, if you like compare like there was a conversation on Twitter earlier about like this was like a couple weeks ago about like CM Aura, and everyone was like, no, I like 3 or 4 points in CM Aura, and I was like, yeah,
It
maybe
always comes back to CM Aura.
it does. That's my life, man. CM Aura is my life. It's like, yeah, maybe there's some situations like I can see that, like I'm agreeable. I try not to be an asshole, but like when I'm anonymous or when I'm on the show where I'm not actually, like being rude to a person, like I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive with my opinions because that's how you get like a reaction. It's not like I say like, guys, situationally, 3 points in CM War is bad. Like no one learned anything from that. They're just like, yep, that's true. Situationally, something exists.
Hmm.
But like, no, when you're talking about something, be like, all right, this is fucking awful and it sucks. And then if you're wrong, someone will tell you, like that 7KC player who really always goes armlet on Sven and Lifestealer and has like a 70% win rate. And I was like, all right, guess I'm fucking dumb then, dude. Keep going armlet.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, Armlet's like I feel like Armlet's almost like a player's situational item where like some people are just really like acclimated to using Armlet and others are not.
Yeah.
I've been playing
That that
Armlet
that, that
Kunko.
conversation that was
Yeah.
its own animal. But
Yeah. But I completely agree. And I think it's valuable to know the situations where like X is better than Y, even though Y is the standard. But at the same time, it does like really hurt a conversation if you start getting into like minute details of a build. And like I can't think of like a very clear example, but I mean a big thing I always bring up, and this really ties to it, is a lot of times you'll win a game in spite of your build, not because of your build.
yeah.
But people will win so many games in spite of a build that they think that it's just good. Kind of like the classic Dotp joke, the Roland no boots Dagon rush on Nature's Prophet jungle.
Is that
It's
not
like,
good?
trust me, it is not good.
Okay.
And he, to his credit, he is
But like I
very
feel like in some situations.
exactly. In like if all their cores are really squishy and you
Yeah,
are
like
running a bounty hunter that's constantly roaming and
sure.
a Zeus and you need to just jump around finishing people off
And like what if they
and you
all
have a
like
Chen on your team to
abandoned
call you.
and then came back at like 12 minutes and like Dagon was enough to kill all of them?
Yep,
Because they're like still level 1. Like I feel like
that's my favorite situation where they
okay.
all quit and then come back later.
That's the situation I build for. That's why you don't discount that build because you never know.
Yeah, but that's like the thing is where people get these builds, whether situational or just plain bad, like set in their ways, and they're like, oh, Juggernaut. What would be like Juggernaut E-Blade. That was the build I did the other day, just for fun, and like that is not by any means a good build. But like if I did that for 100 games and I had like 70% win rate, just because I'm good at Juggernaut, like that would be one thing, and then you get that idea ingrained in your psyche, and you're like, boy, this is a good build. And then I tell you to do it, and then you tell a friend, and then you get stupid things that just proliferate.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent, but
Yeah, no, that's it's just valid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Man.
think about situations, and if you're talking about very general ideas on a hero, don't like say situational things like For instance, on Jakiro, sometimes I'll go like first item Ghost Scepter because the situation calls for it. And sometimes it's really game winning. It's like, oh, they have a Juggernaut that keeps solo Omni slashing me.
Yeah, they have Juggernaut, Ursa, and Lifestealer
yeah.
as their cores.
But in
Ghost Scepter.
Yeah. And like, but in no world should I be like, hey, new player, you're playing Jakiro. You know what you should do? First item Ghost Scepter, because then
every
it's like,
game.
Yeah. So think about that. And I think that's like a core problem with just Dota in general. Not a problem, but that's a core problem that exists because of the kind of game Dota is and how it's so complicated that there are so many situations.
Yeah.
But that's just the reality of the situation. No
Yeah,
problem.
so in conclusion, if you want actual advice on a build or like to actually get real feedback, be very boisterous and very opinionated. Because or that. Yeah, just be super opinionated and be stuck in your ways. Otherwise, everyone's just gonna be like, oh yeah, that's possible. Okay, goodbye. Like you don't get real advice that way. Just be super adamant that like one way is correct, and then someone will tell you you're wrong, and then you'll learn, which is awesome. Which is the point of talking, fucking learning shit, getting new builds.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of
Slasher.
Like,
it's great.
Yeah, always listen to Slasher. Slasher's never wrong.
Yeah, because like man, he makes a video about his builds. That's how fucking adamant he is about them.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? On PA, this squishy here that does a shit win rate. First you go Battle Fury every game, and then afterwards you get a Desolator. Like that's how you fucking start a conversation.
Yeah, I think there's an important balance of being confident in your own theory or your own build, but also being open to argument. And I think it's like that with anything, of course, but Dota especially, where it's the internet. People are very hard-headed. They're just like, oh, he's just an idiot. What kind of guy would go Battle Fury PA? And I'm sure I'm trying to think. There's definitely something on the tip of my tongue that like I used to always say was terrible, but now it's actually really good, and I do it.
Battle Fury Juggernaut.
No, it's not that.
No? Okay.
I know I didn't like that at first, but that I came quickly around on. I don't know. Somebody will remind me on Twitter maybe because
Radiant Slow and Druid.
That's what
I've had a balanced opinion on that for a while.
But anyway, everybody has those where like they think it's really bad and then it turns out to not be bad. Well, also like patches change that. Anyway, you know what's not bad? Hopefully,
Yule's first Bat Rider. Okay.
Yule's first Bat Rider would be interesting in a situation that would be good.
No, I played with someone who did that once. It was awful.
Yeah, that does not sound like the top tier play.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what's not bad is our lane combo. I hope because I would really like to gain some party MMR because we've just been hemorrhaging that crap.
Yeah, normally it's supposed to be like this show is my free 25.
It has been historically.
Yeah. Overall averaged out.
Yeah, it's like we lose all our 5-stack games and then we win all our like 2 and 3-stack games. And this show is it's our MMR mine.
Okay.
And every once in a while, you just got to go back and chip at it. And today we're going to be chipping at it playing Slark and Skywrath. The Skywrath Mage, the guy with the dumb red set, even though he's a blue hero. But that's...
Right, yeah, I'm not okay with that, by the way.
Oh,
if it wanted to pull me, that's something I don't like.
I do not like it either. I'm not super, like, I don't care that much, but, like, if I had to choose whether it is in the game or not, I wish it was in the game in blue, because the blue version is actually really cool. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation for Fashion Fridays, or whatever the heck we're going to call that show. Just kidding, we're not making a show called Fashion Fridays. No spoilers.
Are we not? Did we can that? Okay.
We did. It's going to be an addendum to Theorycrafting Thursdays. Anyway, that's what we're going to play. What? You're going to be playing the Slark? Both of us play Slark, but let's be honest, you don't play Skywrath.
Hey, my Slark is fantastic.
It is. It's quite good. I vividly remember, and when I say vividly, I mean only vaguely, but vividly is a more entertaining word. I very clearly remember you completely throwing a game that we were playing in duo queue because
oh my god,
you were playing Slark, and I tried so hard not to flame you for it, and I didn't. But now that we're on a podcast that people are going to hear, and you have to be beholden to this entirely baseless claim because
I try so hard to forget these things.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact game. I just remember you did something dumb without buyback and went for a pickoff. And
it was at the this was like 2 months ago. I don't forget my mistakes. That's why I am how I am. I fucking it was we were like losing, and I was the only thing keeping us in this game. We like just started coming back, and I just like went for a pickoff at like the hard camp near like the dire base, like the
I
close one.
remember this so clearly now.
Yep, I do it, and then just 5 people, and I just die immediately, and I almost get the kill, but I don't, and I'm like, well, we lost because I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And there was no reason to go for that. I was like, if I got the pick off, we'd be minorly more ahead. But if I died because I was attacking their fucking base at like 50 minutes where everyone else travels, that yeah. Oh my god. Why would you remind me of that? I'm gonna be on tilt now. You fucking asshole.
Well, you just got to redeem yourself by winning us the 25 for this game. And I
Yeah.
will do my best playing Skywrath, which I really like Skywrath. He's kind of like a garbage tier support right now, but he is good situationally. We're gonna bring it back to
I
that.
like him. I
I
played
like him too.
with one of them earlier.
Well, we played a game with a Skywrath last night that went horribly. But the hero is cool.
Who? Oh yeah, yeah.
I was filling in. Yeah.
Yeah, I played a game with a Skywrath last night that was good.
Oh
So
yeah.
not that this guy we played with wasn't good.
Yeah.
It's just that the game was good that we played.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
trying to find this game. I'm so repentant right now.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while. That's not what we would call the hashtag good pod. Anyway, Skywrath is cool. I think one of the really big strengths he has that other heroes have just better is that he can really bully the mid lane. And obviously, we're not doing this necessarily where I'm going to be roaming mid lane. But when you have mid laners that are really popular, like Invoker, I will say Skywrath is really good against Invoker. One of the best supports against Invoker, I would say. Although if he's double Forge, you'll just get killed by Forge Spirits. But that's a whole nother point. Skywrath, you can just walk mid and just like from 2,000 units away, just like throw arcane bolts and make some dude or lady or other thing miserable. Like you can just punish people so much. It's such a hassle.
Yeah. The game I played, it was going to be great until we had a last one random bounty hunter, despite mousing mid the whole game. It was we had Skywrath and OD, and they just like went aggro Skywrath Omni OD, and like
That's
holy
disgusting.
shit, it was just like it was brutal. I just like would mouse over their lane occasionally, and it's just like Skywrath spamming Q, and everyone's just like fucking sipping salves and munching tangos, just trying to survive him. And he's just this like crazy badass, just destroying shit. But we're not gonna play that combo.
No, we're not. We don't have enough friends to run a 3-man combo. Let's be honest.
We've already done OD,
and we already did Omni, or we didn't. Korean Barbecue and Woodtrue did. No, Korean Barbecue and somebody else. Might have been Woodtrue. Anyway, we ran that combo once, but still, we're gonna have Skywrath. So like, we'll have 33% of the really strong combination that you discussed. And Slark's a good hero. I like Slark a lot. He is the terror of Dotp in-houses. Recently, and also before. That was like when I first started asserting my dominance and proclaiming my own name in Dotp. I just played Slark in a lot of in-houses, and that was really rude. And because that hero is really good, and you can solo win games on Slark, and I love Slark. So I'm excited to run this combo because that hero is awesome.
Yeah, Slark. If you get a half decent start on him, get like a relatively early Shadow Blade. He's pretty great. He's pretty great, and I feel like Skywrath's like biggest. Like there are two aspects of Skywrath I really like. One is that he's a good lane zoner. Like I don't think a better lane zoner exists in the game. Honestly, you just like exist, and then you press Q on someone, and then they're zoned. That's just how the hero works.
Yeah.
Unless they're like Faceless Void, because fuck
And then
that
you
hero.
just cry. Well, you can silence him, and your silence lasts longer.
Yeah, that's true. You like hew him, and then he backtracks away, but like then he doesn't have backtrack, and then I don't know, you silence him, Slark pounces. Good stuff if you can get that. But yeah, it's good. I found the game, by the way. I'm very sad. Anyway, that's how it's a tough life being me.
Okay, so I guess we should, as always, talk about the synergy, the direct synergy between these two heroes, and I think the obvious one is Pounce paired with my ult. Also, you do in the early game. So Slark is kind of like Ember Spirit in the way that he transitions from being a largely magical damage dealer in the early to mid game into a largely physical damage dealer, also a stat steal damage dealer, whatever you want to call that, in the like later mid to late game. And I think the really nice synergy is, right, so Skywrath, you start with your concussive bolt or concussive shot, whatever it's called. You slow them, that sets up for the pounce. I silence them. My silence adds to magical damage done, and you're doing more damage with Dark Pact and pounce. Well, just Dark Pact because you already pounced, and I'm doing damage because I exist as Skywrath, and it's cool. And then once I'm 6, then I can ult on top of your pounce target. They can't move.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And they'd have to, like, normally when you get pounced, you just start like walking one way, and like you would think maybe like there's some kind of weakness in that, like, yeah, you pounced on someone, but like they can still walk out of the Skywrath ulti theoretically, but like they're walking one way and you Skywrath ulti, and to get out of it they would need to like turn around, and there's turn speed in this game because it's a good game, and melee is remotely viable in it, and it's good in general. Like you won't be able to really get out of a pounced Skywrath ulti, so I think that's still really good. It's almost as good as a root, and the leash lasts like really really long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely good there. And yeah, the Slark is super magic damage focused. Like Dark Pact is 300 damage on like on a 6-second cooldown, and then you've got Pounce is another 200 damage. So I think that's, like Slark is probably one of the more magic damage oriented carries of the game.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things. I like carries. I like any hero that like transitions from one damage type or one play style into another, and Slark's a perfect example of that. I know the Skywrath's a little more linear, so we'll kind of, that's everybody kind of knows Skywrath. He throws things. You go mana boots. I'll probably go Aether Lens. Actually, I haven't tried that. I'll try my best. Don't worry. And then general items, Yules, stuff like that. But Force Staff, he goes mobility. But
yeah, Force Staff's good on Sky.
Slark has a lot of situational builds.
Oh no, you know what? We're gonna talk about Skywrath for a second. So
okay,
Veil, I feel like is a really good item now. After
Veil.
seeing RTZ pick it up so much on OD, who isn't even a magic damage hero outside of his ulti, and I guess W kind of, but
stats are so good.
Yeah, and it gives armor, and like your Skywrath Mage. I think you go Veil on that hero now. Like, why would you not?
I agree. I don't know if you go at first. I still think Aether is legit. Although I don't know, honest,
the range is so good.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has so much range already.
I don't think you go Aether. Like if you were gonna go Veil and Aether, like the plus healing from, or like rather the health regen from Aether is like completely wasted if you're going Veil, and like 8% magic damage versus like throwing off 20% magic resist. Like Veil is way better in that regard.
Yeah, but Veil's a little more expensive. As a weirder.
Yeah, but I think it's an easier build up though, right?
Well, yeah, yes and no.
It definitely does.
You're already gonna have mana boots. I definitely will be building a Veil now that you bring that up. I love Veil. I think it's a really underrated item, but it's even underrated by me, and I always forget that it exists. Yeah. But the build up is so good now. It's like double null, or no, it's like no.
And that was a build on Skywrath before, just like double null Skywrath. Like that was the thing.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Slark. Now that we've decided what my build is going to be, Slark, you and I. So I'm a big believer in Blink Slark, but you are one of the adamant.
And I remember 2013.
Yeah, dude, that build is so legit. I have a great win rate on Slark. He's one of my best carries, and I build Blink very much more often than I build Shadowblade or Silver.
Yeah, so did I. Like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well,
here's what happened to Slark is Slark could go blink because you could just like blink on someone and kill them, and then they took like 100 damage almost. Realistically they took 80 damage off of your pounce, and then they added 30 health to every hero later. So like your solo kill potential, like this is how you solo kill someone as Slark. You fucking right click them out of Shadowblade, and then you W, and then you Q, and then like maybe you get off another Q before they do anything. Like you can Q, or rather Dark Pact to like not get CC'd, then you can ulti to not be able to get targeted by like sheeps and that kind of thing for a little bit more time, and then maybe you can get one more Dark Pact off and then like kill them that way and then get the fuck out. But if you go Blink, like the damage is just not quite there. Like you don't hit that threshold to solo kill people in like 4 or 5 seconds anymore, and it gets like substantially more dangerous. And you kind of have to use it for the initiation there, and then like pub wise, you can't like stalk around for people. Like I think it's like there's a lot of really cool merits to it, but your solo kill is just so much weaker than it used to be. And Shadowblade has like really good stats because Slark is actually like not that strong a right clicker without good damage items on him.
Yeah, so I think my like
business
to preface my argument, I'm also like, I feel like in this world there are Shadowblade players and there are not Shadowblade players, and you are definitely a Shadowblade player. And like when you think of pro players like Sexy Bambo, he's like a total Shadowblade player. He builds that on like everybody. I just kind of undervalue the item because I overvalue the competence of enemy supports. And I'm always worried that like I'm gonna just Shadowblade and then it's gonna be worthless because they spend 200 gold on sentries. Granted, they can't buy dust against you because you just purge it off, which is really nice. I definitely think Shadowblade is good. I just like for me, it's always I get one or the other. And actually, I see some people even in pro games get both, which is weird.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
But I have so many mana problems when I build Shadowblade on Slark, on even Kunkka. Kunkka, like nowadays, all the good Kunkka players don't build Shadowblade, but that used to be like a really legit thing.
Yeah.
And like Shadowblade, Dragon Knight, even although Dragon Knight's a natural bottle carrier. I just kind of don't build the item as much. I definitely like I build Shadowblade. My thought process is always: do they have supports that can afford to buy a bunch of sentries? Are there supports ahead? Like if we're pushing them into a corner and like they can't farm the map, they're gonna have no money. If I can really strain them by buying a Shadowblade and forcing them to spend that money, that's really good. And then I'll build a Shadowblade. But if it's kind of like if it's not decided either way, I'll probably go Blink because it's a comfort item. Or if they have really like dominant supports and I can't go for pickoffs, or if they're 5-manning, then I will just skip the Shadowblade entirely.
Yeah. I feel like there's like two, like the main difference, like when people talk about, okay, either you go Shadowblade or you go Blink, one of the things that's kind of glossed over is like the difference in how the two of them like actually create kills. And I talked about the Lilith when I was talking about Tiny a few weeks ago, but Shadowblade is like you use Blink to catch people out, and you use Shadowblade to like abuse like squishy people who are like being very defensive that you can still kill. Like you can't stalk through a jungle with Blink. Like you will get seen by a ward and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know where you are, but like you can Shadowblade and go into a jungle. On the other hand, if someone's like out farming a lane that you see, it's kind of hard to just like Shadowblade up into them, and then if they have a sentry, they can see you, etc. Like maybe you need a little more time to get to them and all that business. You need to like deal with going over terrain and stuff, which isn't a big deal with Slark, but you can't really pounce while you're Shadowblading. So it's all that business. So like if someone's farming a lane like aggressively, you can like Blink and catch them out of nowhere. But if someone's farming like the jungle defensively and they're squishy, you can Shadowblade into them. So it's kind of like a mix of the two. And then the other thing with Slark, what you were saying was like if there are supports that can like afford detection, but like the thing with Slark is like you never want to play support if there's a Slark in the game. That's just like not a fun time.
So like the clear solution is to pick no supports.
Yeah, that's
don't buy any wards.
But like you don't like it because you just die all the time. And then not only do you die all the time, but you need to buy detection. And not only do you need to buy detection, but not dust because he just purged off your dust and that was 90 goals you're not getting back. So like Slark is so oppressive to the supports the second he gets a Shadowblade. And then also Blink is better for like the kind of team fighty Slark where like if you don't have to like catch people out by yourself, like if you just need to like initiate on them and then your team can follow up for like the last bit of oomph to actually get the kill and you don't need the backstab damage from Shadowblade, like Blink's so good. It's like, man, Slark's initiation range with a Blink is fucking insane. But if you're going for more pick-offy stuff and solo play Slark rather than like 5-manning Slark, then I think Shadowblade is like the way to go.
Okay. I mean, everybody else, I feel like the rest of Slark's builds are pretty static. It's very just like build a lot of stats.
You go Scotty.
Yeah, you go Scotty, then you build like another Scotty. Midas, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm not the Midas train, but some people, I mean, I see it work sometimes. I feel like he buys all these cheap items, and if I have a Midas, I feel like strained for slots, especially like if you have to buy dust for an enemy. It's like, well, I have a Midas, and I have a Shadowblade or a Blink Dagger, I have Treads, I have an Aquila, and now I have all 6 slots at like 22 minutes. It's like, well, what do I do? Yeah.
Slark can like use the attack speed from it too, because Essence Shift's pretty good skill, turns out. But yeah, like so early game Slark, like all melee carriers, I like to start Tango, Salve, Stout, Mango. And then I go into I do a lot of like this. There's a lot to talk about this here item wise. I've been but in general you go like Treads Aki. You want to get the Basti like kind of as soon as possible so you can push if you need to if the other lanes are like under pressure and you need to like make them devote attention to you.
And farm with Dark Pacts.
Yeah. So you want to go like Basti into like Basti Treads Aquila or Treads Basti Aquila, something like that. Sometimes you might want a wand if you need it in lane. It kind of helps your mana issues that you talked about a little bit if you're going Shadowblade. But I really like Iron Talon on this hero. I feel like you kind of need feel like you get a lot out of Quelling Blade on this hero because like when you're clearing a camp, your Dark Pact takes care of the little guys, but you need a little extra to kill the big guys. So like if you use Iron Talon on him and throw like a couple more right clicks on him than you do the smaller ones, your Dark Pact can like clear the camp in seconds, and it's like honestly really strong. So I've been going Iron Talon on this hero a lot. Plus he has really bad stat gain, and the extra armor does really help a lot, especially when you're jungling. Because before you hit 11, you like need to tread swap like very very aggressively to not get like ticked down by your own Dark Pact.
Yeah.
So the extra armor helps a little bit. Yeah, I really like Iron Talon on this hero, and like you do a lot of stuff clearing camps. It's like Slark does, he does just enough damage with Dark Pact that like one auto attack on a ranged creep plus Dark Pact will kill it. But also if you do like one auto attack on a ranged creep and Iron Talon a melee creep and like auto attack that once, your Dark Pact will kill both of them. So you need to worry about getting like 3 of the last hits in the lane. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with Iron Talon on Slark, and I feel like it's a really good farm accelerant, and it lets you just like without a doubt skip Midas and lets you rotate in the jungle, which I really like my carries to do to give supports the lane to get 6 and all that business. So
Yeah. Okay.
Treadzaki, Iron Talon, Shadow Blade into Scotty, into either Abyssal, or maybe if you really need a Silver Edge that game, that's viable as well.
Well, that sounds good. I think definitely we'll have to see once we get into the game what we do on each hero and how rich we can get, because I have a lot of items I would like to buy on Skywrath, but I do not realistically see myself buying. I imagine I'll end this game with like mana boots and like a wand. So we'll see. Anyway,
Say that. Get a Veil. It'll be great.
I mean, ideally, I get the Veil, I get a Force Staff, I get a Blink, I get an E-Blade.
Would you go Force Staff or Veil first, do you think?
Depends on the game. If like we're having straight 5-on-5 fights, I'll go Veil. But
Against
if it's
Clockwork.
yeah, like if I'm getting picked off, in Force Staff. Also, like I mean, I feel like mobility is always king.
Yeah.
And I almost always just go mobility items on any hero really. Like all my supports, I just build like Force Staff, Blink Dagger, and like a kind of boots, and then TPs and a wand. Easy.
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
a Force Staff believer.
yeah, we'll see once we get into the game if we pull, like old Cloud9, like old Cloud9, where they just build 5 Force Staves on each team and just
It's so good.
yeah. But anyway, before we drag this bit on any longer, let's hop into the game. Of course,
Yeah,
you can
we'll
watch
talk
the
about
game.
skilling and shit after.
Yeah. Max Dark Pact. That's the skilling. And we will. You can watch the video on Dotp TV1. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second part. We've just finished our game. It was a good game. We have quite a bit to talk about. I had fun.
I guess so.
We won, so that's a start. It was, a victory always helps, right?
Yeah, I
Especially
like winning. It's a good experience.
when sometimes those feel few and far between, but right now it was a good victory. It was dominant, but it was not like super one-sided. It was a solid like 39-minute game.
Yeah, good times.
As always, I will announce the teams. Our team was, of course, in the safe lane, it was Slark Skywrath, and then we had offlane Darkseer, played by Skrunk, our infamous/famous Skrunk.
The infamous Skrunk. I feel like that's his title at this
Yeah.
point.
We had a mid Death Prophet that we will talk about at length, and we had a roaming bounty hunter who was also pretty cool. The enemy team had, boy, I don't even remember their laning situation. They had a safe lane Doom, right, and then a jungle
Yeah.
Natures.
Yeah, safety and
Offlane-
jungle natures.
Offlane Ricky, and like a roaming support ogre. It was mostly a duo mid, honestly. Mostly it was duo mid bounty hunter Death Prophet versus ogre Quap, because Quap was their other, technically their mid, I guess, but it was a very intense game. It was like high kills. It was high intensity. Obviously, like we said, we won. I ended up like getting really out of control as far as supports go. I actually had the highest kills in the game.
One might even say.
Yeah, I got up to, I was 1 kill below godlike, but then I fed. So such is life. But yeah, it was a fun game. I mean, I think we really we took a couple bad fights in the early game. We dove a little far. Especially, Skywrath has 0 armor, so there was one time where Nature's Prophet just punched me 3 times and I died. But we secured you a ton of farm because of that, all that fighting in mid.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
Skrunk
That's
on the
pretty free.
Darkseer, he has 23 assists. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
in the
0 deaths.
offlane. Yeah,
like he almost has as many last hits as I do. He's at like fucking 288, and I'm at 301. It's like really crazy considering how much I farmed.
yeah, he's only 60 GPM away from you too.
Yeah, it was a good game for him. Jesus, I mean,
But yeah,
Bounty Hunter or Darkseer against Doom is not a bad matchup, so
no, it
that
is
makes some
not.
sense.
And that Doom's build was
A little interesting.
interesting. That's yeah, interesting is like the nice way to put it. So everybody knows because they're listening to this podcast. Earlier we were talking about the situational thing. His build, just plain bad. I'm gonna say that it was not situational. It was just
Yeah.
bad. He went Brown Boots, Midas, Octarine, and then he went in for Guardian Greaves, and then he went Radiance, or maybe he went Radiance and then Guardian Greaves.
No, I don't think that's even able to be told. I think he
Yeah,
just those are the items that he got,
yeah,
and that's
that's what
all
he
we
ended with.
really need to know. The order of that is not like
Well, the important thing is the first item, Octarine, because Octarine is pretty legit. If you have like Blink
oh, I love Octarine too, man.
and
Some
Blink,
fun shit.
Refresher, Ags, whatever. So his build was wonky, but I think the interesting part, and the reason why everybody should go to Dotp TV1 and watch this video, is our Death Prophet was Eternal Envy in that he was not Eternal Envy, but he sounded exactly like him, and he ordered us around like Eternal Envy would, and he was a pretty he was really good, so it was
Yeah,
fun.
he was sensible, and he sounded like Envy, and I had to ask him several times if he was Eternal Envy because it was just like, could you
He
TP
didn't
top?
say
And we're
no.
like, holy shit! And he says, haha, maybe. I don't know, man. Fucking, can you TP top? Like that. That was like that was it.
Yeah, that you did not sound like Envy there, but anyway, it was
Good to
something.
know.
I always appreciate when we have a fearless leader, whether he's in our party or not. I appreciate having somebody just like directing the game and saying like, "Hey, go top. Hey, go bottom. Okay, go mid." Even when it didn't work out, like we made one dive in mid lane, and it just like we just all died. But it's like at least you're doing something, right? He was
Yeah.
very clearly like objective, objective, objective. My ult's up. Let's take a tier 2. My ult's up. Let's take Roche. Yada yada. I finished a challenge, so that's exciting.
That's the important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he finished it for me. Honestly, he did Roche, and I wasn't even there, and I got credit.
Nice.
But so, I guess let's talk more about our combo specifically. We've talked enough about Eternal Envy. Again, if you watch the VOD, even if you just flick to a random point in it, you will see and you will hear Envy's voice, probably over mine, Prouds and Skrunks, but that's a good time. Anyway, build wise, I guess I'll start, and
Sure.
we talked earlier about the Veil, and the Veil was hugely successful, even just for stats. Like I got a few good uses that were like significant, and they really helped me kill stealing. They came in clutch.
Yeah.
But the fact that it gives you armor was like really significant, right? So Veil gives you what 6 armor, and
Yeah.
6 armor on a hero that I counted at level 14. I had 2 armor. That's how bad his agility scaling is. And on that, like 6 armor on top of that was like that really mitigated all of the failings of this hero stat wise.
Yeah.
And having
strong.
tons of other stats is just great.
Yeah, and it's like that plus it's basically like almost a drum of stats,
Yeah,
and then fucking like 18 int.
yeah, and like it's weird because generally when you think of Veil, you think of it like you buy it for the team because it's like, oh, my team does a ton of magic damage. It's going to help everybody. In this game, it was honestly, I was the only one doing magic damage except for Darkseer. It was
I
like,
don't know about that. Like Prophet does a decent amount of magic damage, like whenever
she
she's
does,
not
but
ulting, and then Bounty Hunter has his Q, which is like most of his damage.
her life leech, that's not magic damage, isn't it? I thought that was like,
No, it's pure.
yeah. Anyway, it was good. It was really helpful for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
I built a 4 staff like we talked about because luckily I was not the poverty support 6 slot Skywrath. I was
Yeah.
the kill everybody, secure kills, steal kills mostly Skywrath. And then, of course, in typical Ursinity fashion, I bought an E-Blade, and it was good. But I also only finished it when we had mega creeps, so I still
Right. That's
like.
really I think the key E-Blade timing is like once you get mega creeps, like then you pick up E-Blade.
See, honestly, it should have been my first item because it's like even better than Veil, right? Veil,
It's like a single target veil, because like what if you don't want to veil everyone?
right? So Veil increases magic damage by 25%. E-Blade though is 40%. That's
No, it's isn't it
54%.
more because it's fuck.
No,
I
I'm
thought that
looking at
this
the items
thing.
right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. Increased magic damage by I read a little bit ago that it was like decreases their magic resistance, but that is not what it does. I was like, did they change that? The fuck? But no, you're right.
Well, who knows? Dota works in weird ways.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it was pretty sweet. Don't build E-blades, kids, but I like them. So sometimes I do that, and
yeah, good times.
most of the time I get yelled at, kind of like my Battle Fury builds, where sometimes that doesn't go over so well when it's like, oh, why does our support Lena have a Battle Fury when we haven't taken any Raxes? Um, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, I needed a Ghost Scepter anyway, and I was like, boy, I got all this money, I could build a
Yeah,
scythe,
yeah,
but like, why
can
would I build a
almost see
scythe?
why that would be your joke build to go to. That's like the extent of my understanding. It's
It
like
was fun.
this is the more viable joke build at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just so happens like I build Ghost Scepter a lot because I kind of overvalue that item, and also like E-Blade is fun and I get to steal kills. And Battle Fury, like I have to go all the way back to base to get it. Whereas E-Blade is like I already
Right.
have the Ghost Scepter, I
No,
can get it
that makes perfect sense.
exactly. You have strategic joke builds,
Yeah,
and
it's like at different points in the map, different joke builds become more viable. That makes sense.
exactly. See, it's situational joke builds.
Uh-huh. Right, there you go.
So let's talk about your build, which was not jokey. It was just good. How did that
Sure.
go?
So when I've been playing Slark, skill build wise, you almost always get pounce first, and then a point in E at 2, so you can like your right clicks are you get that extra strength steal to make your right clicks a little bit more impactful, and then you get dark pact at 3, so you're like 1-1-1, and then you have to decide between like do I want the damage of Dark Pact, which does actually hurt me a little bit more, or do I want the cooldown reduction on Pounce? Like, does there exist some situation in which like having 2 pounces is gonna get a kill, whereas a little bit more damage on Dark Pact won't? And we weren't really doing anything to the Ricky. He was playing super passive. He knew if he like showed himself once and you were remotely in the area, he would just die immediately.
Yep.
So he just like wasn't doing shit. So it was basically a free lane for me. Like once in a while he'd come out and get one deny, and then I'd like right click him down to half health, and then he would just like be like, okay, I'll see you in 3 waves from now when Skywrath is in mid, and then maybe I'll do like one more deny. So that lane was just kind of one. So I figured I would just go straight farming. So I like max Dark Pact, and I got. So I went treads first. I feel like with Slark, like my last hitting, it's not just last hitting, but the ability to like take a deny into a last hit and not like risk losing either one of them is if you
Mhm.
get power treads, like the extra attack speed really helps a lot. Because like Slark kind of has like a low agi gain and kind of a long build up. So I really like getting the power treads early. So just go like treads first into Aki into Iron Talon, and the Iron Talon really like helped my solo farm up a lot. Like I could take hard camp and then like the medium camp and then get back to lane in time and clear another wave, and it was like really good. So big fan of
Mhm.
Iron Talon on this hero now. And I just took that straight into Shadow Blade, straight into Scotty, and that into Abyssal. It's pretty standard.
Yeah, it was definitely like, um, you definitely like the free lane helped, and like we were just fighting constantly, and you really
Yeah.
benefited from that like mayhem because it made enough space for you in the early game to get those items, and then once you had those items, Slark is a perfect hero to contribute to these kind of games where it's just
Yeah.
like everybody's just fighting and killing everybody, and there's no like real
Yeah.
like it wasn't as
Like
concerted as some games.
I was like 0-0-0, and then I had Iron Talon, Aki, Treads, and I still had like my Mango and Stout Shield and shit at like 12 minutes 36 seconds is when I got all my shit on me. So that was like really good. And then like the second I got that, I just like Shadow Bladed around, and then like 2 minutes later I went from 0-0-0 to 3-0-2. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
our momentum. Like we were like six and like six is the score was like 6-9, and then after like I started contributing, it was like, okay, like we have the advantage now.
Yeah, there's definitely like there were a few points in the early game where like we did some divey dumb things and they didn't pan
Yeah.
out, and that's very easy to like get roped into when you have a Death Prophet and a Skywrath and a Bounty where Bounty's trying to chase with the Orb of Venom and Death Prophet's doing the life drain, this siphon, and she's chasing people down and I'm diving because of well, whatever, despite the fact that I have like a billion range.
Yeah.
So we had some like little misplays, miscommunications, and they had Ogre Quap. So like and Nature's Prophet TPing into every fight. So we would like go on the
Yeah,
Ogre, and
that's a
then it's
dive
an
punish
Ogre.
team.
Yeah, and Ogre had like 800 armor at level 2 and 16 health regen and just
Yeah.
never died. So, but we recovered. I think at a certain point, like our fearless leader, Eternal Envy, was just like, hey, let's stop going into their woods. And I was like, okay, that's a good point. Thank you, sir. Continue. and then I bought him some more dust, and we moved on. So that was kind of how the game went. Do you have any other comments on like the flow of the game?
I feel like we could have been a little bit more like aggressive on the Ricky. Like if I just went for a pounce at some point and we just like kind of knew where he was, you could have walked over and dusted. But we were
Yeah,
playing kind of passively. At the same time, he wasn't doing anything to our lane, so I was like, maybe I just like let him live and not, waste any of my thoughts on him and just like keep
yeah.
getting free farm and just like accept that there's a worthless hero getting free experience in exchange for my like free farm and full denies. So I feel like it was like pretty good overall, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. In the laning phase, there's actually a point where like I ended up spending like 30 to 45 seconds sitting. So we were radiant safe lane. So I was sitting to the left of that like little patch of trees, and you were farming lane because I was just waiting for him to like get a deny so that we would just go on him.
Yeah.
But he just never did anything, and I didn't
I'm
want to
sure
like.
he may have just had like a ward there or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also he's a Ricky. He may have just walked over, but
Yeah.
regardless, it panned out in the long run, and it definitely is like there are certain lanes where like if your carry's farming, even if the enemy is getting some stuff, your carry's still farming, and a Slark farming instead of fighting is almost more productive than you getting baited into fights and like potentially losing out on CS, or like you commit to a fight and then you don't end up killing him because he blink strikes away, then you just waste all this time.
Yeah.
So it
That's
definitely worked
that's
out.
like my least favorite thing is when like I'm in a lane and the support is like really trying to get me to go for a kill and there's like a full wave of last hits that I'm gonna lose if I like walk past this creep wave and like pounce or something, and then like we don't miss the kill and I miss like a wave and a half of experience and like fucking 6 last hits. I'm like, okay, like even if we got that kill, the last hits would have been more gold for us overall.
Yeah.
So not going for kills is sometimes really the best thing to do if they're at all iffy.
Yeah, that's actually like a pretty. I mean, I feel like a lot of people know this, but internally, a lot of times it feels like everybody overestimates the amount of money you make from getting last hit, from getting kills, and they
Especially early
underestimate.
kills.
Yeah, because it's like if you kill a support, like yes, there are like a lot of benefits. Of course, nobody's saying don't kill people, but you really like there's everything has like cost. What's the word?
Cost
Opportunity
benefit.
cost.
Yeah,
Well,
opportunity
yeah,
cost. Yeah.
cost benefit, but it's all opportunity cost. I know Owie in one of his replay reviews that he used to do. One of the things that he said that was really insightful to me when I was really focusing on getting better at Dota was thinking about just the cost of like a rotation or a kill, even if it pans out. So like obviously when you rotate someone, you're thinking of the ideal. Like in this game, if I was thinking like, all right, I'm going to TP mid, then we're going to kill the Quap because I'm going to silence, and then we're going to kill the Ogre. And even if we kill both of them, that's like what, like 300 gold for the Quap, maybe 400, 2 to 300 for the Ogre. That's 700, and that's split up, of course, through various means and mathematics through the three of us. And it's like, all right, we all net like 150 gold, whatever. But like, I'm a support, so I can make those rotations. But if a carry makes those rotations, like, sure, you're getting 150 gold, but you're missing 600 gold worth of creeps. And like, yeah, it's not as exciting if you just sit in lane and farm creeps, but it's so much more efficient sometimes.
Yeah. There's,
And
of course, like assist goal to factor into all that, but yeah, like early game, a kill like the assist goal will be like between 70 and 80, and the kill itself is like I don't know, like 200 at most, and
yeah,
like that's a wave, like and then there's a chance that you don't get it, and then you just miss a full wave because and plus you're wasting all your mana. Then like they
yeah,
respawn and they don't have to use any of their regen because they just like died and respawn immediately at like level 2,
hmm
and then you missed a full. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that. I'm playing a pub and this dude who's just really upset that he's not playing a core is just immediately trying to get kills, and I'm like, nah, dude, I'm gonna last hit this wave and then get boots and then go for a kill because I'm not fucking about missing like 7 last hits just so that we can like use this guy's salve.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I agree completely. It's definitely. I mean, I feel like everybody kind of complains about that. They're just like, yeah, my pubs are dumb because like all we do is just fight constantly, and then nobody has like it's like 40 minutes, and the cores have like 1.5 items, and
Yeah,
then you can win so many games just by like sitting back and just farming and being like, hey, you guys, you 9 people have just been fighting constantly, doing whatever. I've just sat back, hung out, and now I show up with like 6 items. It's like the anti-mage gaming style where it's just like, oh, you guys do whatever. I'm
yeah.
just gonna sit back, and yeah,
And
that's
anyone knows about me playing the way I like to play when I'm not, having to do weird stuff to deal with weird parties that randomly come up. I just like to farm. That's
Yeah.
like my favorite thing in Dota. I get a last hit and I hear that sound, just oof. It's just that's it. That's the life. You want to get that ka-ching. Just gotta get the
Yeah.
ka-ching.
I had a good few months where I must have like contracted something from you because I would just like play Naga and
I
AM
know that's not
and
okay.
it was so much fun. But now like I almost like when I play a core too often, I'm just like this is just too much. Like I'm bored. I need to go do stuff.
It's all about the farming pattern. That's all I care about.
I have a healthy appreciation. I think we balance each other out.
I'm blood drunk.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's one way to put it. That's I would be a little concerned.
I'm playing some Bloodborne. Sorry.
Oh, okay, good. And I'm glad some quality podcast. Our co-host playing Bloodborne. um, but yeah, so that's the gist of it. Really, I don't have too much more to say about the game. I think this combo is really strong. Just in general, I think I create a lot of space for Slark. Slark, of course, is like a stereotyp, or not stereotypically, but like a typically is a weak laning phase, and that's one of his weaknesses, and that's why he's not picked.
Yeah, well,
But
he has a weak laning phase, but he can like turn on the aggression. Like I can just like pounce over
yeah,
the wave if you're like, they don't really see you. You're like out of sight of their fucking ward, and then you press like W from across the map, and then your concussive shot comes in, and then I fucking pounce him. So like you can turn on the aggression in a
yeah,
second with Slark. But he is also like he gets a lot out of like a really strong early laning phase because like all you really need is those like early 12 minutes and then I get the Shadow Blade and then I'm just a terror in the whole game. So you're good enough to provide that for me. And then I'm also a decent enough solo laner that you can go rotate and like gank mid with your W from a fucking 1,000 screens away. So yeah, I think it's really good in general. Like it makes the laning phase really solid, and then it lets us transition super well into like a really aggressive mid game.
yeah. It's definitely. I think the key to most of the combos we've done on this show is just we compensate for each other's weaknesses and we benefit each other's strengths. And this is definitely a combo that does well with that. And like most good combos, it's not some gimmicky thing. I forget where I read this, and I'm sure I've said it and read it all over the place. But people always say like some things win the lane but lose the game. I think there are definitely combinations that do that, and I think the key to running good combinations is not to just win the lane and with some gimmicky thing. Which we've done gimmicky things on the show before, like Omni Pudge. It's one of those things where it's like win the lane, lose the game. Although I think they won that game, but this is a very like consistent good combo, so I
Yeah.
would highly advise it if you and a friend trying to play some party queue or unranked, whatever. It's a good time. I enjoy
Yo,
myself.
minor tip, actually major tip. There's something that they added into Dota a couple patches ago. I think it's called maybe not free pathing, but I don't even know. It's like force pathing or something. That had it in Han. It was like where you would click somewhere and your character would run that direction and not obey pathing at all. So like if you wanted to, like if you right click next to like a cliff or something, your hero would just like run until he's facing that cliff and then just not do anything.
Hmm.
That shit is awesome for heroes like Slark and Shadow Fiend. Because like when I'm trying to line up a pounce, I just so I have it. I have it in my EXE now, but if I press Alt and right click somewhere, I will ignore pathing. So like if I'm trying to line up a pounce and I right click somewhere, if a creep is in front of me, Slark isn't gonna like turn to the left fucking 90 degrees and then I'll pounce and
Huh.
he'll just fly somewhere random. So he'll just like face that way and then I'll press pounce. And then when I was playing like Shadow Fiend 2, like I would like right click something, like I would stack the dire hard camp like close to the base and then the medium camp that's like right next to it. So I'd like right click the hard camp, then start walking to the left and then just like right click on that area. Just like it doesn't even matter like where you click on it, I'll face that way. But like if I wanted to shadow raise something, I press Alt, right click there, and then immediately shadow raise, and just like my Shadow Fiend would avoid pathing completely and just like face that direction, and then it would shadow raise. So look into that if you're playing any hero and you wanna actually like have a really easy time facing the correct way without having to deal with like right clicking right next to the edge of a cliff and not above, so your hero doesn't do crazy shit.
Huh. I've heard free pathing before, but I have not used that. I think at this point, like I've internalized, like I just have like a method of doing that. That doesn't
Yeah.
tend to be a problem with me. But I know a lot of I've seen many a pounce go awry because it's like weird pathing, like you said.
It's
So
just
that's valuable.
when you're in a creep wave, man, like there's no way to deal with that. Like the creeps are moving around and you can't like right click next to your feet because the creeps are like in your hitbox. Like that's really like when I'm in the middle of last sitting in a creep wave and I want to fucking pounce on someone, I got it. Like if you don't have that pathing, it's really hard.
Huh. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to look that up in the settings or whatever config. I actually haven't edited my reborn config yet, so maybe I'll do that. I need to add some things.
That's like the one thing I do.
Yeah. I used to have all kinds of config settings, but that is the days of that are long gone. Anyway, let's. I suppose I'll just close out the show. Do some plugs. So you can watch the game that we played. YouTube.com/.ptv1. If you want to watch us stream, play games, I know I stream a lot. Roland streams a lot. Cyphus was streaming earlier today. Easy streams. It's always a good time. You always see random people up on there. Come hang out in the chat and flame whoever's playing. Because why else would you be in Twitch chat? That's Twitch TV/.ptv. We have a website, which is nice. defenseofthepatients.com. Find our VODs there. Find the ladder for the in-houses. Find all the points that, kind of whose line is it anyway. They don't amount to much, but they are interesting nonetheless. See who's undefeated and then come to the in-house and defeat them, ruin their scores. Who needs more motivation than that, right? Hatakamara and I think Joy Thief and somebody else are like 4-0. It's like, dude, make them 4-1. Cut them down. On our website, you'll see our Amazon banner. You can buy all your stuff there. It costs you no extra money. It just sends some our way. Steal from Jeff Bezos and give unto .p. And we have a subreddit, r/Defense of the Patients. You find all our new content there, conversations, etc. Comment on a thing, suggest us some combos. Do what you will. You can email us at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. Talk to us again. There's so many avenues. Twitter is probably the best one, though. Twitter, of course, I'm at Ursinity. Proud is at ProudDota. And on Twitter, you can find the show overall at .p_show. And that's the gist of it. I mean, we have in-houses like we've brought up. You should show up to them. They're a lot of fun. They're very exciting, full. If you're not in them, come hang out in Twitch chat.
Yeah.
I know. We're always there.
I guess now we're definitely having two lobbies on Thursday because there's so many people that we need to be running multiple lobbies at the same time. So
that is
if you're trying to get in, it's fucking 100% for sure because otherwise people won't actually know. So we're definitely doing more than one lobby. So
the Thursday this is coming out, possibly. Other than that, in the future,
100%.
Okay, well, 100%.
The whole point is we make it official so it happens and people don't just be like, oh, there's a second lobby, I guess maybe I'll show up to that one.
Well, regardless, you should show up to either lobby. Show up to the first lobby, show up to the second lobby.
No, only show up to
your
the
own
second
lobby.
one.
Who cares?
Fuck the first lobby.
Yeah, that's true. We don't need that. Anyway, show up to the in-houses. If nothing else, just hang out in Twitch chat. It's a lot of fun. Trust me, like, even if you don't know anybody, like, just show up. It's fun. We play Captain's Mode, and nobody will be mean except probably me, but I don't play normally, so that's fine. We'll just hang out. Good people cast, Zach, Grouty, myself, Proud cast, Roland cast, Cyphus. I don't think he casts. He does stats though. Those are fun. Anyway, grand scheme of things, show up to in-houses. It's fun. Enjoy the community. That's why you're here. But anyway, as far as this show is considered, sure. Thanks for hanging out. Yep, yeah, okay. Well, anyway, it's been our theory, and remember, it's probably your fault.